Hello fellow language learners and those of you who decided to come here just out of curiosity. My name is Yulia, and if it's your first time on my channel, welcome. So as you might have guessed from the title of this video today, I'm going to share with you a bit of my language study routine, and even though I can't call myself now a polyglot yet, I thought it might be interesting to see how I managed to learn several languages at the same time. And before we get into it, I think it's important for me to say and to remind you that I'm going to be talking about my own preferences and methods when it comes to language learning. So don't take it too serious in a sense that you don't have to follow and literally copy my method or rules. Just remember that I'm sharing with you my own experiences and what works out for me personally. I think I'll start off with something that seems to me the most important thing. The thing number one for me when I'm just at the very beginning of learning a new foreign language is to decide what textbook I'm going to be using. For me, learning a language with a textbook is everything. In my opinion, studying a foreign language with a textbook only is pretty enough up until, say, intermediate level. Right textbooks, which usually include a student book and a workbook, have everything you might need to reach a medium level of your target language. Listening, reading, speaking and writing topics. No need to be in a constant search of podcasts that will suit your level or language learning apps. Those can become your extra learning materials though. However, I simply adore learning with a textbook, and I can't imagine my study routine without them. Maybe that's why I'm not a big fan of language learning apps, because I don't really need them. By the way, be sure to follow me on my Instagram and also check out my website, where I also regularly post and share with you some of my favorite textbooks and show new discoveries when it comes to books. So as I said, having a specific set of learning materials, a student book, workbook and a grammar book will simply save your time, because every unit is structured and gives you a certain set of vocabulary and activities you need at a certain language level. Another essential addition to my language study routine is a language notebook. I am that kind of person who needs to write in order to learn and remember. Most of grammar rules that I have already in my grammar book or a textbook turn out to be in my language notebook as well. Don't even tell me it's a waste of time asking me why I have to copy most of grammar rules into my language notebook too. But if you do ask me that question, I'll tell you why. Both student and grammar books tend to be rather bulky and even heavy, which makes it almost impossible to take it somewhere with you in order to study on the road, for example. But keeping a language notebook/journal where you keep main ideas, rules and vocabulary from each unit will make it possible. I also like taking a couple of language journals with me to bed and flipping through the pages before sleeping. And trust me, the results sometimes are incredible. The vocabulary I learn or revise before sleeping comes to stay in my mind much faster than I did it in the morning. So you should definitely give it a go to see if it works for you the same way too. And let me remind you that I make these journals, these language notebooks myself, that you can always order. I always try to make them in a comfortable size and with a beautiful cover, so that I'll always want to touch them, to write something inside and look at it all over again. Choose the one that you like on my Instagram or my website again, and send me a message if you like some. Well, and if I've mentioned my language journals, I just have to tell you something about my art projects too. When I learn a language, I simply can't imagine not learning and reading about that country or countries where that language is spoken, about culture, traditions and customs of those people who live there. And the more cultures I'm interested in, the more languages I'd like to learn, and vice versa. That's how I came up with an idea to write about the UK in English, about Spain in Spanish, Starting to do the same about France in French. Hopefully I can do something like this in Hindi, which I'm learning now too. I have the whole video, by the way, on my channel showing you all of my art projects that I have. Please check it out later. You will certainly find some inspiration for you to start your own art project in your target language. It might look those are the only things I'm doing, having nothing else to do or other hobby to occupy me with. Otherwise, how would I find enough time to do all of that? But this is how my other rule of how to be able to learn several languages at the same time appears. You should plan everything in a correct way. And I'm going to be straightforward now. I am not a big fan of planning myself because I don't like to pressure or to limit myself. And what I do instead is I draw a tracker in my diary every week of how many hours I'm going to work on a specific language. I don't usually divide it into speaking, writing, grammar or anything else. I just write Spanish, French, Hindi, and every time I have nothing to do, I look at the tracker, I choose a language I'm in the mood to study right now, and then I color a square in green after 1 hour study. After several years of language learning, I understood that it's possible to learn something if you truly want to do that. It happens that I wake up with a wish to learn French, and I can go on like this, reading or watching something in French for several days in a row without paying attention to Spanish, Hindi or English. Being really into or even obsessed with a language or languages really helps me to learn them without any difficulty. And let me know that if I am being into several languages or I just have some spare time in a day to spend learning 2 languages at the same time, these must be totally different languages. Spanish and French in a day? Never. For my brain, these languages are too similar to one another. Spanish and Hindi in a day? Perfect. This way, these languages are never mixed up in my mind. What advice I can give you is that if you're a Japanese learner, if you're a beginner in Japanese and are planning to start Japanese or say Korean in the nearest future, that won't probably be the best idea, simply because they are similar to each other in some way. Why not to go for Italian or German, for example? You'll have less chances to mix these 2 languages in your mind, in both of which you're a beginner, therefore less problems and no headache. Another thing that never works for me, even though nowadays everybody seems to be obsessed with, is setting language learning goals. Generally, it looked like it turned into some kind of a trend, posting your language learning goals for this new year, saying like, I'm gonna reach B2 in this language, or I'm gonna be A2 in that language. I'm not saying it's bad, and if you truly believe, if you really feel that setting language learning goals works perfectly for you, go ahead. But I personally prefer go with the flow, see what comes up, what language is going to be my priority, and to see if I'm in mood to start a new foreign language. Well, and the last but not least, what helps me to be able to learn several languages at the same time is reading. If you know me for some time, you already know that I'm a big fan of reading, and I always try to connect it somehow with language learning. Switching to a different language with each new book I pick up to read is my favorite thing. When I finish something in Spanish, I often continue with a book in English, which is later followed by a book in French. Of course, it always depends on my mood. Again, I never pressure myself when it comes to reading and language learning at the same time, because if I do, I won't enjoy reading and learn anything either. Reading, for me, comes along with writing and speaking. These three things are linked between one another in my study routine. I know that when I read a book in a foreign language, I will definitely retell the whole story, or even every chapter, on paper, and then will also retell it orally to myself. Better if I record it and see some mistakes afterwards. Yes, it does take some time, but it's not tiresome, at least for me. And I really don't think we should look at some language learning activities as tiresome and boring. We should rather enjoy the whole process of learning without pressuring ourselves or limiting. I guess the only fair conclusion that I can give to this video is to say that there is no secret whatsoever when it comes to learning and being able to learn 3, 4, or 10 foreign languages at the same time. Everything comes from your own wish. If you want to learn Spanish or French, you can do it. I know that if I one day want to learn Japanese, Italian, or any other language, I will do it if I truly want to, even if I have only 30 minutes in a week for it. It's not even necessary to stick to a strict schedule and count how many hours you spend on every target language. So let's just keep discovering new cultures, being open to new languages, and let's stop chasing the number. The number doesn't really matter. Let it go. And one day you'll see that starting to learn a new foreign language doesn't make you anxious, simply because it's something you want to do and are interested in. There are no rules in language learning. There's only a wish. Thank you, friends, for watching this video. If you've come till the end of it, it might mean that you enjoyed it, so I might deserve your like and a lovely comment down below from you. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next videos.